Hello, it's Carol here from Ray's. We've been thinking a bit about what it is to be helpful this week, and I wondered if you've ever bought anything that was meant to be helpful and turned out really not to be. My husband and I bought a teasmade recently to help me as I got up in the morning as I recover from long COVID and most recently surgery, and we thought it would be a really good idea. It was such a bad idea that I had to write a poem about it, and here it is. Once upon a teasmade, in a kingdom in Wakefield/Leeds, there lived a poorly princess who loved a cup of tea. Oft her handsome prince had made her tea in bed, but he was off globe-trotting, so she made a plan instead. She would venture to the Amazon, and thus became her quest. She found a well-known teasmade make and figured this was best. Patiently she waited, in a quite impatient way, longing for her teasmade that would come and save the day. Then hark! Her knight in armour gave her door a knock and delivered her new teasmade with a teapot and a clock. The princess was elated. To strength this was the key, and so that night she gathered things to make her cup of tea. Her prince, he froze the milk jug to ensure the milk was cold. He may have been globe-trotting, but his wisdom was like gold. She brought up milk and sugar, all kept in pretty pots. She plugged in the new teasmade and began to join the dots. Well, the start of this debacle was it said to clean the pot. The prince and princess disagreed on whether to do this or not. Then there was a minor issue with the tea tray she brought up, as the princess then discovered lack of tea bag and of cup. But the princey was heroic, descending stairs once more to gather the important things and start plan as before. Now, reviews had said the teasmade light was a fairly big distraction, but the reading light and lure of tea had been a strong attraction, so the prince, he found some cardboard to pop over the clock. Who needs to see the time when the tea is in the pot? The button had been pressed, the water in the tank, the teapot with a tea bag in was primed to do its thing, so imagine how the princess felt when morning came to be and she stretched, awoke and discovered there wasn't any tea. Distressed, she scoured instructions to see what was the glitch, and apparently the teapot had to touch the safety switch. Well, the princess was determined. Some mistake that kept her laughing, and she vowed that night to set that straight, so next morning she'd have caffeine. That night the pot brushed soft the switch. The princess was elated. She would now have her cup of tea. Oh, how long had she waited? Next morning, bright and early, as the sun crept through the blue, the teasmade sang its happy song to herald tea for two. Except this time there was no sound to show the tank was hot, and that's when Princess noticed cold water in the teapot. Distressed, she scoured instructions, and then to bed she sank. In order for teasmade water to boil, it has to be put in the tank. Now, Princess, what a wally, and what a misdemeanor, and dreamily pouring the tea in the tank hadn't made it any cleaner. But the princess was determined, and so she vowed that night to get her lovely cup of tea, and this time get it right. Her tea tray was completed, the water in the tank. She went to read things carefully. The cold tea had been rank. It was then that she discovered that the button she thought she had missed to set the alarm to make the tea simply didn't exist. I mean, there was a button shining with its blue glare, but on reading up to find its use, the symbol wasn't there. Well, the princess had to be honest. She was starting to find this wearing, but she popped the gentle reading light on and pressed the right button, now glaring. The glare gave her some hopeful hope that the teasmade was set just right. But turning the reading light down with contentment, it also switched off the tea light. The princess now had a dilemma. Would the button go off at 7? Would she get her nice tea that would give her great peace? Would she finally be in tea heaven? She decided to trust in her teasmade, and dreaming of beverage and brew, she went calmly off to the land of Nod till the sun crept through the blue. The next morning the sun didn't fancy a shine, and the rain clattered down like a shaker. The princess awoke at 7:15. Her alarm just didn't wake her. The jester came in, the princess's son, excited to see the pitch, as the teasmade just sat looking useless and sad, so she pressed the tea now switch. The water it boiled, making noise like a train, and it made the sun quite nervy. The cat had popped in to sample the milk, and the princess's head felt all swervy. The piece that the teasmade had promised in bags was slowly becoming a lack. She did have her tea, but her hope had all gone. That thing was going back. That night, with return emails clouding her mind, she gave a warrior cry. I really want my tea in bed. I'm giving it one more try. She now didn't care that the jug wasn't froze or that most of the sugar was sticky. She put tea bags on and she switched buttons on in the hope that the tea would come quickly. She lay down her head and she gave a small sigh and she touched the button, no hitch. And the light wouldn't glow and the tea wouldn't go as the pot wasn't near to the switch. There is no way of knowing without the light glowing, the princess said through gritted teeth. But have my damn tea I will have in the morning, even if I'm 6 feet underneath. Next morning, bright and early, the sun was apprehensive. The princess woke to nothing, and she soon became defensive. She pressed the tea now button and she drank her flipping tea. She unplugged a stupid waste of space, but was soon clapping hands with glee. For whilst gallivanting round the world, the prince for a quest had been, and the princess now just couldn't wait for her brand new coffee machine. And the moral of this story, well, I think you'll all agree. Don't buy yourself a Swan teasmade if you actually want some tea. Bye-bye.